My name is Linda Carter. I'm 42. At 9:47 a.m. on Tuesday, November 14th, I was sitting in courtroom 3B at Jackson County Family Court, watching my ex-husband, who hadn't seen our daughter in 3,284 days, tell a judge that I was an unfit mother. Your Honor, Mark said, his voice steady and practiced, Emily deserves opportunities Linda simply cannot provide. We're prepared to offer her voice training in Nashville with industry professionals, real producers, a life Linda's salary could never afford. My hands were shaking so badly I had to press them flat against the defendant's table. The wood was cold, polished. I could see my reflection in it, distorted and small. Mark stood 12 feet away in a navy suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. His wife Vanessa sat in the gallery behind him, her Cartier bracelet catching the fluorescent light every time she crossed her legs. Mr. Carter, the judge said, flipping through papers, according to these records, you haven't paid child support since your daughter was 10 months old. That's 9 years and 2 months. Can you explain that? Mark didn't even flinch. Your Honor, I was going through significant financial hardship at the time. I've since remarried and my circumstances have improved substantially. I'm here now ready to provide for Emily in ways I couldn't before. Isn't that what matters? That I'm willing to step up now? I felt something crack inside my chest. Not break, crack. Like ice on a windshield spreading in thin lines. You're willing to step up now, I heard myself say. My lawyer touched my arm in warning, but I kept going. You're willing now that she's worth $1.2 million. The courtroom went completely silent. Mark's face stayed smooth, but his jaw tightened. Linda, that's not... You sent me an email, I said, my voice louder now. 9 years ago, December 3rd, 2016, at 11:34 p.m. Do you remember what it said? Your Honor, this is... It said, don't make me look at that kid again. I mean it, Linda. I'm done. Vanessa's bracelet stopped moving. Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now, and what time is it there. I need you to know I'm not making this up. Every word of this happened. Let me take you back 9 years and 3 months to the night my marriage ended in 127 words. I was standing in our apartment kitchen, the one on Brookside Boulevard with the leaking faucet I'd reported 6 times, holding our 10-month-old daughter while she screamed. Emily had been crying for 40 minutes straight. Ear infection. The pediatrician had said it would peak around midnight, and she was right. It was 11:52 p.m. Mark walked in from the bedroom, his duffel bag already packed. I can't do this, he said. Not I can't do this right now. Not I need a break. Just I can't do this. She has an ear infection, I said stupidly, like that explained anything. The amoxicillin takes 3 days to... I don't care about the amoxicillin, Linda. I don't care about the crying. I don't care about her. Emily was still screaming against my shoulder. My shirt was soaked through with her tears and probably mine. You don't mean that, I said. I met someone, Mark said. He was looking at the refrigerator, not at me. Her name is Vanessa. She doesn't want kids. She has money, real money. I'm leaving tonight. Tonight? Mark, it's almost midnight. We have a baby. You have a baby, he said. I never wanted her. You knew that. You said it would be different when she was born, that I'd feel something, but I don't. I feel trapped. He picked up his duffel bag. I watched him walk to the door. Emily's screaming had turned to hiccuping sobs against my neck. Mark, I said, please, we can talk about this. We can... He turned around one last time. His hand was already on the doorknob. Don't make me look at that kid again. I mean it, Linda. I'm done. The door closed at 11:58 p.m. I know because I stared at the microwave clock for 20 minutes straight, while Emily finally cried herself to sleep in my arms. The email came 36 minutes later. Subject line, financial, no greeting, just numbers. He'd emptied our joint checking account, $2,847, and transferred it to an account in his name only. Then the sentence I mentioned before. Don't make me look at that kid again. I mean it, Linda. I'm done. Then nothing. No calls, no checks, no birthday cards. Nothing for 9 years and 2 months. I spent the first 3 months in survival mode. My teaching assistant job at the community college paid $1,840 a month. Rent was $1,100. I did the math every single night. Utilities $140, groceries $280, diapers $85, childcare $0 because I couldn't afford it. I brought Emily to class with me. My students thought it was sweet. My supervisor called it unprofessional. I lost that job on March 15, 2017. I found night shift work at Walgreens on April 2nd. Stocking shelves from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 5 nights a week, $11.50 an hour. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, 73 years old with arthritis in both hands, watched Emily while I worked. She refused payment. "You help me carry groceries," she said. "I help you with baby, that's fair." It wasn't fair. Nothing about it was fair. But I took the help because I had to. During the day, I slept in 4-hour blocks while Emily napped. When she turned 2, I enrolled her in the subsidized daycare program at St. Augustine's Church on Northwest 23rd Avenue. That's where she met Mr. Alvarez. Mr. Alvarez was the church music director. 68 years old, played piano for 47 years, had perfect pitch and endless patience. He heard Emily singing to herself during free play one Tuesday morning, some garbled toddler version of Twinkle Twinkle, and stopped dead in the hallway. "Mrs. Carter," he said to me that afternoon at pickup, "your daughter has an exceptional ear." I was so tired I almost laughed. "She's 2. "I know," he said. "That's what makes it exceptional. Would you allow me to work with her?" "No charge. I teach the children's choir on Sunday mornings anyway." She could join. I should have questioned it. Free music lessons from a stranger. But Mr. Alvarez had kind eyes and calloused fingers from 60 years of piano keys, and Emily lit up every time she heard him play. "Okay," I said. "Sunday mornings." That was 6 years and 8 months ago. Emily is 9 now. She sings like some people breathe, naturally, constantly, without thinking about it. Mr. Alvarez taught her to read music before she could read chapter books. She performed her first solo at the church Christmas concert when she was 5. "Oh, Holy Night," in a voice so clear and strong that 17 people cried, including me. By the time she was 7, she was singing at community events, local festivals, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, a regional talent showcase in Kansas City, where a music producer from Nashville stopped me in the parking lot and handed me his business card. "Your daughter," he said, "could be something really special. Call me when she's ready." I put the card in my wallet and forgot about it. Emily wasn't a product. She was my kid who liked singing and hated broccoli and slept with 4 stuffed animals arranged in size order, but other people didn't forget. Last April, a different producer reached out. This one had an offer, a development deal. Voice training, studio time, professional songwriting team. They'd invest in her career, help her build a following, prepare her for a record deal when she turned 13. The number they mentioned was $1.2 million over 3 years. I said no immediately. Emily was 8. She had homework and play dates and a childhood I wasn't going to auction off. The producer was persistent. He called 6 times, sent contracts. Finally, I blocked his number. Apparently, he found a different Carter to call. Mark showed up at the dental clinic where I work on September 22nd at 2:14 p.m. I've been a receptionist at Dr. Morris's practice on Sunshine Street for 14 months now. It's the best job I've had since Mark left. $16.50 an hour, health insurance, normal daylight hours. I answer phones, sterilize instruments, manage the patient schedule, help Dr. Morris with cleanings. The work is steady and clean, and no one looks at me like I'm failing. I was updating Mrs. Patterson's file when the front door opened and Mark walked in. I didn't recognize him at first. He'd aged well, better than me, definitely. His hair was professionally cut, his teeth were professionally whitened, he wore a watch that probably cost more than my car. "Linda," he said, like we'd just seen each other yesterday. "We need to talk." My hands stopped typing. The keyboard made a small clicking sound as I lifted my fingers away. "We don't," I said. "It's about Emily." Something cold slid down my spine. "You don't have a daughter named Emily." "Legally, I do. I'm still her father." "You haven't seen her in 9 years." "I'm aware." He glanced around the waiting room, 3 patients, all pretending not to listen, and lowered his voice. "Can we do this somewhere private?" "No." He sighed, like I was being difficult, like I was the problem. "Linda, I know I wasn't there before, I own that. But I'm in a position now to give Emily opportunities you simply can't provide. Vanessa and I want to—" "Vanessa," I repeated, "the woman who didn't want kids. She's changed her mind, we both have. Emily deserves better than—" He gestured vaguely at the clinic, at me, at everything. "This." Mrs. Patterson in chair 2 shifted uncomfortably. I kept my voice very calm. "Get out." "I've already filed for custody modification," Mark said. "My lawyer says I have a strong case. I'm financially stable now. I can provide a better environment. The judge will see that. You abandoned her. I made a mistake. People change. Judges understand that." He pulled a business card from his wallet and set it on the counter between us. "My lawyer's information. Have yours call him. We can settle this reasonably, or we can do it in court. Your choice." He left before I could respond. I stood there for 40 seconds. I counted, before my hand started shaking hard enough that I had to sit down. Dr. Morris came out from the back. "Linda, you okay?" "I need 5 minutes," I said. I went to the bathroom and locked the door and sat on the closed toilet lid and tried to breathe. My daughter. My daughter, who I'd raised alone for 3,284 days, who I'd fed and bathed and rocked to sleep and taught to tie her shoes, who I'd worked 3 jobs to keep housed and clothed and safe. And Mark thought he could just come back now that she was worth money, and take her. I pulled out my phone, called the number on the card Mark had left. A receptionist answered. "Hoffman and Associates. How may I direct your call?" "I need a family lawyer," I said. "Today." They connected me to Jennifer Park. She had an opening at 5:30 p.m. I took it. Jennifer Park was 36, sharp-eyed, and didn't waste time on sympathy. She listened to my story for 12 minutes, took notes, and then said, "Here's what we're dealing with. Missouri family courts prioritize the best interest of the child. Your ex-husband has been absent for 9 years, but he's now financially stable and married. If he's smart, he'll frame this as redemption. A father who made mistakes but is now ready to step up." "He doesn't want to be her father," I said. "He wants access to her earning potential." "Can you prove that?" He said it. Today. In front of witnesses. "Verbal statements are useful but not conclusive. Do you have anything in writing?" I thought about the email. Yes, from 9 years ago. He told me not to make him look at her again. Jennifer's pen stopped moving. "Do you still have it?" "Yes." "Forward it to me tonight. What else? Employment records, bank statements, anything showing he provided zero support?" "I have 9 years of bank statements, not one deposit from him, not one." "Good. What about your employment history? Child's school records? Medical records?" "I have everything. Shift logs from Walgreens, pay stubs from the clinic, Emily's attendance records from school and church, her medical files. I've kept everything." Jennifer nodded slowly. "You're more prepared than most people I meet. That's good, but I need you to understand something. Your ex-husband has resources. He can afford an expensive legal team. This won't be easy." "I don't care if it's easy," I said. "He left her. He doesn't get to come back. Legally, he does get to try, but we're going to make sure the judge sees the full picture." The custody hearing was scheduled for November 14th, 7 weeks away. During those 7 weeks, Mark's lawyer filed motion after motion. They requested Emily's academic records, medical history, Psychological evaluation. They tried to depose Mr. Alvarez, my neighbors, Dr. Morris. They submitted income comparisons showing Mark's household made $340,000 annually compared to my $34,320. Jennifer fought back. She filed for documentation of Mark's 9 years of absence. She requested his financial records from 2016 through 2025. She subpoenaed his phone records to prove he'd never called, never texted, never tried to contact his daughter once. And she helped me do something I'd been too afraid to do before. I asked Emily what she wanted. We were sitting at our kitchen table on October 29th. Emily was doing homework, long division, which she hated, and I was pretending to read a magazine. I said carefully, you know your dad reached out, right? She didn't look up from her worksheet. Yeah. Do you want to see him? Now she looked up. Her eyes, Mark's eyes, unfortunately, were very direct. Why now? What do you mean? Why does he want to see me now? Where was he for my birthday? For my choir concerts? For when I broke my arm in 2nd grade? I didn't have an answer that wouldn't make her hate him more. He says he wants to be part of your life, I said instead. Because of the singing thing. What singing thing? Mom. I'm 9, not stupid. I heard you on the phone with that producer guy. I know people want to pay money for me to record songs. She erased something aggressively. And now suddenly my dad cares. That's not complicated math. I reached across the table and took her hand. If the judge asks you what you want, I want to stay with you, she said immediately. Is that what you're asking? Because the answer is you. It's always been you. I cried for 20 minutes after she went to bed. The night before the hearing, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, running through everything Jennifer had told me to prepare for. Mark's lawyer would paint him as a changed man. They'd emphasize his financial stability. They'd suggest I was holding Emily back from opportunities she deserved. And I had nothing to fight back with except the truth. I'd been there. Every single day for 9 years, I'd been there. At 2:33 a.m., I got up and pulled out the box I kept in my closet. 9 years of records. Pay stubs showing my progression from $11.50 per hour to $16.50 per hour. Emily's report cards, straight A's since kindergarten. Her Sunday school attendance records. Birthday party invitations I'd saved. Mother's Day cards she'd made me. Photographs of every school event, every performance, every normal Tuesday afternoon, and at the very bottom, printed out and folded into quarters, the email, subject RE, financial, from mark.carter@gmail.com. Date, December 4th, 2016, 12:34 a.m. Don't make me look at that kid again. I mean it, Linda. I'm done. I read it 3 times, then put it back in the box. The courtroom at 9:47 a.m. was exactly as I described at the beginning. Mark in his navy suit, Vanessa with her Cartier bracelet, me in my best dress, the gray one I'd worn to 3 job interviews and 1 funeral. Jennifer sat beside me with 4 manila folders stacked in front of her. The judge was a woman in her mid-50s named Margaret Chen. No relation to my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, but I took it as a good sign anyway. Mark's lawyer went first. His name was David Hoffman, 58, silver hair, voice like warm honey. Your Honor, my client deeply regrets his absence during the early years of his daughter's life. He was struggling financially and emotionally at the time of the separation. However, he has since rebuilt his life. He's remarried to a wonderful woman, Vanessa Caldwell Carter, who is fully prepared to welcome Emily into their home. Together, they have the resources to provide Emily with opportunities that simply aren't available in her current situation. He pulled out glossy folders. We've prepared a detailed plan for Emily's education and development. Private school tuition, fully funded. Music lessons with Grammy-winning vocal coaches in Nashville. A trust fund we're prepared to establish in her name, valued at $500,000, accessible when she turns 18. Judge Chen looked unimpressed. Mr. Hoffman, Your client hasn't paid child support in 9 years. That's not a detail. That's abandonment. Your Honor, my client was in no financial position. He was employed, wasn't he? Hoffman hesitated. Yes, Your Honor, but then he could have paid something. $5 a week. 10. The amount matters less than the effort. She turned to Mark. Mr. Carter, you're asking this court to believe you've changed. What concrete evidence of that change can you provide beyond financial stability? Mark stood. Your Honor, I know I failed Emily in her early years. I take full responsibility for that. But I'm here now, ready to be the father she deserves. I want to give her the world. Opportunities in Nashville with real music professionals, connections in the industry, a chance to develop her incredible talent. Her talent that you weren't aware of until recently? Judge Chen asked. I learned about it through mutual acquaintances. Once I knew she was interested in music, I wanted to support. When's her birthday, Mr. Carter? Silence. Her birthday, Judge Chen repeated. What day was your daughter born? Mark's face went very still. It's in the summer. July? August? March 18th, I said quietly. She was born March 18th, 2016, at 6:14 a.m. after 19 hours of labor. You weren't there. You were at work. You came to the hospital 4 hours later and stayed for 20 minutes. Vanessa's hand went to her throat. Your Honor, Hoffman said quickly, my client's memory of specific dates doesn't negate his sincere desire to— Ms. Park? Judge Chen said. Your turn. Jennifer stood. She didn't touch the folders yet. Your Honor, I'll keep this simple. Linda Carter has been Emily's sole parent for 3,284 days. Not one of those days included financial support from Mr. Carter. Not one included a phone call. Not one included a birthday card or a Christmas gift or a single acknowledgement that Emily existed. She opened the first folder. These are bank statements from December 2016 through October 2025. 9 years. 0 deposits from Mr. Carter. Mrs. Carter worked night shifts at Walgreens for 3 years while her daughter slept. She worked as a dental receptionist for 14 months. She kept her daughter fed, housed, clothed, and safe on an average income of $28,000 a year. Second folder. These are employment records, shift logs, badge swipes. They prove Ms. Carter has been consistently employed and financially responsible, even when it meant working overnight shifts so she could be available during her daughter's waking hours. Third folder. These are Emily's school records, perfect attendance, straight A's, active participation in church choir, community theater, and youth orchestra. All activities Ms. Carter not only permitted but actively supported despite financial constraints. Fourth folder. Jennifer paused before opening it. And this, Your Honor, is the email Mr. Carter sent to Miss Carter on December 4th, 2016, at 12:34 a.m., approximately 2 hours after abandoning his 10-month-old daughter. She pulled out the printed email and handed it to the judge. Judge Chen read it in silence. Her expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air. When she looked up, she looked directly at Mark. Don't make me look at that kid again. I mean it, Linda. I'm done. Those are your words, Mr. Carter? Mark's lawyer stood immediately. Your Honor, that email was sent during an extremely emotional time. My client was struggling with— I'm asking your client, Mr. Hoffman, not you. Judge Chen's voice was ice. Mr. Carter, did you write this? Yes, Mark said. His voice was barely audible. But I was— You were done, Judge Chen finished. Your words. And you stayed done for 9 years and 2 months until your daughter became valuable. Is that accurate? That's not— Your Honor, I genuinely want to be part of Emily's life now. I've changed. People deserve second chances. Children deserve first chances, Mr. Carter. They deserve parents who show up, who pay attention, who remember their birthdays. Judge Chen set the email down. Miss Park, you mentioned church involvement. I'd like to hear from the church music director. Mr. Alvarez was seated in the gallery, 3 rows back. He stood slowly, leaning on his cane. State your name for the record, the bailiff said. Roberto Alvarez. I'm the music director at St. Augustine's Church on Northwest 23rd Avenue. How long have you known Emily Carter? 6 years and 8 months. She joined children's choir when she was 2 years and 4 months old. And in that time, how many times have you seen Mr. Mark Carter at any church function, performance, or event involving his daughter? 0 times, Your Honor. How many times have you seen Ms. Linda Carter? Every single Sunday for 6 years and 8 months, every rehearsal, every performance, every community event. Linda Carter has never missed one of her daughter's concerts, not even the time she had the flu and sat in the back with a mask on so Emily wouldn't see her missing. I felt my throat close. Judge Chen made a note. Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Anyone else from the church or community wish to speak? 3 people stood. Mrs. Chen, my neighbor, Dr. Morris, my boss, and Emily's second-grade teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez. One by one, they testified. Mrs. Chen spoke about watching Emily overnight for 3 years while I worked. Linda always came home at 7:08 a.m. exactly. She'd kiss Emily's forehead, thank me, and take over. Never late, never complained, never asked for more than I could give. Dr. Morris described my work ethic, my reliability, my character. Linda could have sued for child support at any time. She never did. She just worked. She worked and took care of her daughter and never once made excuses or asked for special treatment. Mrs. Rodriguez's testimony broke me. Emily wrote about her mom for every assignment. My hero essay. Her mom. Most important person. Her mom. Who I want to be when I grow up. Her mom. In 3 years of teaching Emily Carter, I never once heard her mention her father. Not once. Mark's face had gone gray. Judge Chen looked at him for a long moment. Mr. Carter, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to think very carefully before answering. Why now? Not 3 years ago, not 5 years ago. Why are you pursuing custody now? Mark opened his mouth, closed it. His lawyer whispered something urgent. Your Honor, Mark finally said, I heard about the producer's offer, the $1.2 million development deal, and I thought Emily deserves that. She deserves professional training, industry connections, the best possible chance to succeed in music. Linda can't give her that. I can. So this is about money. It's about opportunity. It's about money, Judge Chen repeated, harder this time. You heard your daughter might be worth $1.2 million, and suddenly you remembered you have a daughter. That's not... Mr. Carter, Judge Chen's voice cut through the courtroom like a blade. I've been a family court judge for 17 years. I've seen hundreds of custody cases, genuine ones, where parents fight because they love their children and want what's best, and opportunistic ones, where parents see children as assets to be controlled. She closed the folder in front of her. This is the most clear-cut, opportunistic case I've seen in my career. Vanessa made a small sound in the gallery. The email alone would be damning, Judge Chen continued. 9 years of zero contact would be damning, but the timing, the precise timing of your sudden interest in custody is what seals this. You don't want to be Emily's father. You want to manage her career and control her income. Your Honor, please. I'm not finished. Ms. Carter has provided overwhelming evidence of consistent, dedicated parenting, employment records proving she's financially stable, community testimony proving she supported Emily's development, Emily's own academic and artistic achievements proving she's thriving in her mother's care. You've provided a bank account and a promise. Judge Chen looked at me. Ms. Carter, I have one question for you. The producer's offer. Are you planning to accept it? I stood on shaking legs. No, Your Honor. Emily is 9. She should be 9. If she wants to pursue music professionally when she's older, I'll support that. But right now she needs to be a kid. Judge Chen nodded. That's what I thought. She turned back to Mark. Mr. Carter, your petition for custody modification is denied. Full custody remains with Linda Carter. Furthermore, I'm ordering you to pay $847 per month in child support, backdated to December 2016. That's $89,364 in arrears, payable in monthly installments of $2,000 until satisfied, in addition to current support. You will also pay Ms. Carter's legal fees, which currently total $8,400. Mark's face went from gray to white. Additionally, Judge Chen said, I'm restricting your visitation rights pending completion of a psychological evaluation and parenting classes. If and when you complete those requirements, supervised visitation may be granted at Emily's discretion. She's old enough to have a voice in this. If she doesn't want to see you, you will respect that. Your Honor, we're done here, Mr. Carter. You spent 9 years done with your daughter. Now I'm done with you. The gavel came down at 11:23 a.m. I sat in that courtroom for 4 minutes after everyone else left. Jennifer was packing up folders. The bailiff was resetting the room for the next case. My hands were still shaking, but differently now. Lighter. Linda, Jennifer said gently, you won. I won. I'd won. Emily was mine. Legally, officially, permanently mine. I walked out of the courthouse into cold November sunlight. Mr. Alvarez was waiting by his car, cane in hand. How'd it go? He asked, though he already knew. He'd been there for the verdict. We won, I said, and started crying for the second time in 2 weeks. He didn't hug me. Mr. Alvarez wasn't a hugger, but he stood there while I cried, patient and steady as always. Emily's lucky to have you, he said finally. I'm lucky to have her, I corrected. 3 weeks later, Mark's first child support payment arrived. $2,847, the exact amount he'd stolen from our joint account 9 years earlier. I deposited it into Emily's college fund. Vanessa filed for divorce 6 weeks after the hearing. According to the court records that became public, she'd had no idea Mark had abandoned a child. She'd believed his story about an ex-wife who'd cut off contact, not the other way around. The email destroyed that lie. Mark moved out of their house in January. I have no idea where he went. I didn't ask, and I didn't care. Emily and I stayed exactly where we were. Our apartment on Maple Street, her school, my job at the clinic, Sunday choir practice with Mr. Alvarez. The Nashville producer called one more time in February. I let it go to voicemail. When I told Emily about it that night, she shrugged. Maybe when I'm 16, she said. If I still want to, but right now I just like singing because it's fun. That's a good reason, I said. 6 months after the hearing, on a Sunday in late May, Emily sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow for the church Mother's Day service. Mr. Alvarez accompanied her on piano. She hit every note perfectly, her voice clear and strong and completely unself-conscious. I sat in the third pew, same seat I'd sat in for 6 years, and watched my daughter shine. After the service, we walked to our favorite diner for pancakes. Emily ordered chocolate chip. I ordered blueberry. We split both. Mom, Emily said through a mouthful of pancake, can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever wish things were different? Like, that I was normal? Not the singing thing, just that my dad was around? That we had more money? I thought about it honestly. Sometimes I wish we had more money. It would be nice not to worry about the electric bill. But do I wish you were different? Never. And your dad? I paused. I used to wish he'd come back. For a long time, I thought maybe he'd change his mind, realize what he was missing. But now, I'm glad he stayed gone, because he would have made you doubt yourself, and you should never doubt yourself, Em. She smiled, small and satisfied, and went back to her pancakes. We walked home in warm sunlight. Emily hummed something from choir practice. I carried our leftover containers. The afternoon stretched ahead of us. Homework, maybe a movie, early bedtime because she had school tomorrow. Normal. Beautifully, perfectly normal. If you're watching this and you've ever had someone come back into your life after abandoning you, not to apologize, not to make amends, but to take something from you, type, I see you in the comments. Or if you're the person who stayed and held everything together while others left, type, I stayed. Both are true. Both matter. I learned something important in that courtroom. Presence can't be bought. It can't be substituted with money or opportunity or promises of better things. Presence is showing up on Tuesday morning when nothing special is happening. It's remembering birthdays. It's working overnight shifts so you can be awake when your kid gets home from school. It's 9 years of saying yes when someone else said they were done. Mark wanted to own Emily's future. I just wanted to be in it. That's the difference. Thank you for being here. If this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories just like this one. Happy Mother's Day to everyone who earned it by showing up.